girls, to good morning to my 3J, 3M girls, okay, and to everyone who's on YouTube who's watching this right now. Okay, the purpose of this particular lesson, right, basically is to help you learn how to solve a quadratic equation by factorization. Okay, the important idea I'm trying to teach you here would be the long rainbow, short rainbow method. Okay, my focus is on that factorization because I went through the lesson in class. I realized that many of you have forgotten or do not know how to factorize using a trial and error method. Okay, some teachers teach it, multiplication frame. Some teachers teach it the 9 boxes approach. Some teachers teach the 6 boxes approach. All that, whatever, all these methods. Okay, all these are factorization method. As long as you're familiar with one, you're good at one, you can stick to that one. Okay, so you normally teach the long rainbow, short rainbow method. This is what I teach my class. So for my new 3J, 3M girls who are not familiar with this, I'm sharing it with you. Please try to understand this method, and if you like it, I hope you adopt it as your own. Okay, let's take a look over here. Okay, for the first question, right, I'm trying to solve x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. We are trying to solve a quadratic equation. How do I know it's quadratic? There's a x squared over here. Okay, like what I mentioned in class, every time when we want to solve a quadratic equation, there are key protocols, right? There's certain steps that I always insist that we must have. Number one, it must be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. It must be in this form. Okay, so if it's not in this form, okay, if it's not in this form, I want you to rearrange the position until you get a ax squared bx c equals to 0. The right hand side, okay, make it equals to 0. Okay, so that's the first thing you must take note of. The second thing I want you to take note of, a must be positive. I want this to be positive. Then you start factorizing. Okay, sometimes for an equation, for solving equation, you have they could be multiples of 3 or things like that. Then you can actually try to divide 1 by 3 before solving. Okay, make the number smaller, easier to factorize and solve. Okay, so I'll just attempt to solve this. Okay, by factorization. So what do I mean by the long rainbow, short rainbow method? What I normally tell my students is you forget about the 9 boxes, 6 boxes, forget about your multiplication frame. Just focus on what? Write down the 2 brackets first, equals to 0. Write down the 2 brackets first. Okay, then you ask yourself, for the first particular x squared term, right? The x squared term, you can split x squared into what factors? In this case, we know we can only split into x and x. Am I right? It can only split into x and x. So if it's other than that, so we look at the constant term. That's why I want in ax squared bx plus c equals to 0. Now you look at the constant term. The number 3, how do you split the number 3 into its factors? It can only be split into, in this case, it's either 1, 3 or 3, 1. It doesn't matter. You can put 1, 3 or 3, 1. So in this case, let's say I put 1, 3. Okay? So after you write this, right, so what you have to do is we apply the long rainbow, short rainbow. So one end to the other end, the long rainbow, x times 3, what do you have? You have 3x. Short rainbow, what do you have? You have x. Then we ask ourselves, with the term 3x and x, is it possible to get a positive 2x? Is it possible? Over here, we know there are only 4 possible cases. Okay, for now, for the first example, I'll release it up for you, but for the rest of the examples, I think you can do it on your own. Okay, what are the 4 possible cases? There are only this possibility, a plus plus, you can have a plus minus, you can have a minus plus, you can have a minus minus. What do I mean? Okay, for now, let me write down all of these possibilities for you. Okay, if I have a 3x and an x situation, the sum of it, we have 4x, right? We have 4x. A 3x and minus x, then we have a 2x situation. Over here, a negative 3x plus x, we have a negative 2x situation. Negative 3x minus x, we have a negative 4x situation. Okay, all this is actually done in the brain, okay, mental sum. You just have to ask yourself, what plus what, or what plus minus, minus plus, or minus minus, you have to decide on what. So in this case, I know that this combination, a 3x minus x will produce a 2x. Okay, so that means this is the combination that we want. The rest of the combination is out. That means for this particular situation, right, I need a plus and a minus. So all this is redundant. All this is redundant. So I know that this is a plus, this must be a minus. Because 3x minus x will give me a positive 2x. So what I normally tell my students, if this is a plus, crisscross, this is plus. If this is minus, crisscross, this is minus. So this is the factorization approach. This part is the factorization part. that I need everyone to be very familiar with. Okay, then after that, let me move on to the solving part. Okay, move on to the solving part. So once I have factorized it, I want to solve it. Okay, in class, we mentioned this because when I start equating them with 0, some of you were wondering, hey, why is it equals to 0? Because girls, if you look carefully, if I have two numbers, okay, such that a times b equals to 0, a term times a term equals to 0, a times b equals to 0. If you think about it, the product of two numbers, two terms is 0. It tells us definitely one of the term is equals to 0. Or it's either a equals to 0, we have case 1, a is 0. For sure, if a is 0, whatever b is, the product is still 0. Case 2, b is 0. Means if b is 0, whatever a is, whatever times 0 is 0. Case 3, both a and b are 0. Right? So the key understanding we're trying to teach you girls is, if you have two terms whereby you multiply them together, right? If the product is 0, then we know for sure either a equals 0 or b equals 0 or both of them are equals to 0. So that is the key understanding over here. So that means this multiplied by this equals to 0 means that x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay? Then from here we solve, so we know that x is equals to 1 or x equals to -3. Okay, once we are done, as a good maths person, we always double check. How do you know your answers are correct? Take x equals to 1, plug it in, and then you see whether it's equals to 0 or not. How do you know x equals to -3 is correct? Plug it in, and then see whether this whole nonsense here is equals to 0 or not. Okay, so very quickly I move on to the second one. So again, solve this by factorization. Okay, so we start with two brackets equals to 0. Ask myself, x squared, the x, okay, first of all check, is it in the order? X squared, x number equals to 0. Yes, correct. Is the x squared term positive? Over here, this is invisible one, right? So we know that the x squared term is positive, then we continue factorizing, okay? Then we start factorizing. So x squared can be split into x and x. So x and x here. The number 2 can be split into what? 1, 2 or 2, 1. Okay, 1, 2 or 2, 1. So over here, then we do the long rainbow and short rainbow. So long rainbow, I have x. Okay, x times 1 is x. Short rainbow, 2 times x is 2x. So now we ask ourselves, okay, without me listing out for you, let's do it in our brain, okay? I have x, I have a 2x. How can I get a -3x? How can I get a -3x? It must be minus x minus 2x, right? Negative x minus 2x equals to -3x. So if this is minus, crisscross, this is minus. If this is minus, crisscross, this is minus. There you go. Okay, so from here we continue solving. So this tells me that if this times this equals to 0, only when it's equals to 0, then we know that this implies that x minus 2 must equal 0 or this term must be 0. Either one. A times b equals to 0 means a equals to 0 or b equals to 0. From here x is equals to 2 or x equals to 1. Okay, how do you know it's right or wrong? Again, plug in and then you check. Okay, the third example over here. Okay, again, if you find I'm speaking too quickly, please pause the video, think about it, re-watch it again, rewind and watch, okay? Okay, over here, let's try to solve this again. So in this case, how is this question 3? Question 3, how is this different from question 1 and 2, okay? Over here, right, if you look carefully, question 3 is x squared minus 7x equals to 30. Notice the right hand side is not equals to 0. So to solve a quadratic equation, we must make sure that the right hand side equals to 0. Okay, always arrange in the correct form. X squared, x number equals to 0. Okay, so over here again we try to factorize. X squared can split into x and x. 30 can split into what? We can try a few. Let us say some of you say, Mr. Can I try 5 and 6? Or 6 and 5? It's possible. Okay, but okay, let's try. So the long rainbow, x times 6, 6x. Short rainbow, 5x. Okay, we need to ask ourselves the question, 6x and a 5x. Okay, when you have plus or plus, minus, is it possible to hit a -7x? You know, mental sum, that's not possible. 6 and 5 is not possible to have a -7. 7x. So that tells me that the 5 and the 6, they are not the correct combination. So in this case, 5 and 6 is not the correct combination. What else can I split 30 to? I can split to 1 and 30, right? But you know 1 and 30 is also not useful. If this is 1, this is 30, okay? So long rainbow is 30x, short rainbow is x. A 30x and x, can you keep a 7x? Is also not possible. So what are the possible combination? So in this case, it must be the 10 and the 3. Okay, let's try the 10 and the 3. So over here, long rainbow, we have 3x. Short rainbow, we have 10x. So with the 3x and the 10x, how can you get a negative 7x? It must be plus minus. Okay, 3x minus 10x will give you negative 7x. So if that's the case, crisscross, plus is plus, minus crisscross, this minus. So there we go. This is the factorization part. Okay, then from here, that means x minus 10 is equals to 0, or x plus 3 is equals to 0. Therefore, x is equals to 10, or x equals to minus 3. Okay, how do you know if the answer is right? Again, plug into the equation and check whether the expression over here, when you plug it in, is equals to 30 or not. Okay, if it is, then you know you are correct. Okay, so I hope everybody understand how to solve a quadratic equation by factorization, especially the long rainbow and short rainbow approach. Okay, hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much.